Hey everyone, good morning. You guys can hear me? Second sound check. Great. Visuals good? Okay, perfect. Sam, learning while driving is not a good thing. Dangerous. Very dangerous. All right, let's see who we got. Marta was the first, even before me. She was already here. Good morning. I see Edith. I see Sam, Alexis, Raphaelia, Leonard. Mr. Juan, you decided to go on vacation just because it's your birthday. By the way, happy birthday doesn't mean you can take days off, right? There's next year. There's a birthday too. Just saying. Tiana, camera on. Joel, camera on if you want. And Carlos, what's up, Carlos? All right. Coming to the office. What do you mean, Sam? You coming to the office? Coming to the office here? You're fired. Don't you have a class? I cannot read lips. I'm sorry. I love when people are like yelling at the camera like I'm gonna get it. Jan, are you still sleeping? Yeah? Sorry. Monday. Rainy day. Early. I get it. All right, let's see. So to address the first question, which apparently is the only question right now, if you guys have questions regarding previous chapters, do drop them please in the chat. But to address the first question from Juan, when can I take the class I missed? It was chapters 7 and 8. So you're gonna have to wait for, if you want to make it up, okay? Because if you don't miss anything else, guys, if you only miss one chapter, not a problem. Just watch the replay. You'll be good. But if you miss more than one chapter, then you need to make up for those classes, okay? So at this point, like I said, just watch the replay. If you have any questions, send me the questions you might have, and I'll address it right away, okay? Try and see if anybody's watching on YouTube and you have questions, drop them now in the YouTube chat as well. It appears like I moved my camera. All right, so since I don't see any questions, we're going to start with today's chapter. We got chapter 9, right? And we have chapter 10. We're going to go over basics of contracts, and we're going to go over legal descriptions. Okay. As far as legal descriptions, one of them we're going to have a lot of fun with. The rest is going to be easy. It's a short chapter. It's only 8 pages for this one. I know it says 9 up there, but that's with the summary. But it's only 8 pages. It's very short. But we're going to spend some time right here, okay, in the rectangular survey system. It's not heavily tested in the Northeast states. It's not heavily tested because in the Northeast states we don't use it. And we're saying Northeast, we're talking about the original states. We don't use the rectangular survey system, but we still have to know because it's general real estate. Okay. So first of all, what is a legal description? That's what we're going to start with. What is a legal description? Because when you look at a property, right? And before I show you the text, but when you look at a property, you can look at it and say, hey, this is a 1 family, this is a 2 family, it's a apartment building that has 10 units, right? That's a description of what you see, right? But for a surveyor, or for us to easily identify by looking at the deed or in the tax map, right? We need to have an actual description of the property. And when we're talking about property, hey Jen, good morning. When we're talking about properties, we're not talking about the building or the improvement that's on it. Okay? In fact, the deed does not describe the improvements. The deed only describes the land where the improvement is located. Okay, so when we're talking about legal descriptions, it's to determine what's yours. And what you guys buy is land, right? What you buy is land that happens to have a building or not on top of it. You guys understand? So the legal description is going to be on land, not on what the improvements. That's a big misconception that people have. Oh, I bought a 2-family. Look on the deed. Look on the deed. It's right there. No. The deed does not describe the improvement. The deed describes the piece of land that you just bought that separates from your neighbor. Right? Right? So separates. This is you. Then you have your neighbor. Then here's the road. Right? We need to be able to identify your property. That's what the legal description will be all about. Right? Danny, good morning. And Alexis, you're trying to get somebody else on the line, is that it? I see you texting. You're trying to text Jonathan? You forgot to bring him coffee. That's the problem. Make sure you run over to his house right now. Wake him up. Give him coffee. All right. Next, let's start with methods of legal description. As I just said, legal description means we're describing the land where the building is located. Okay? So there are many common ways to describing properties. By address, 100 Main Street. By name, Buckingham Palace or White House, or things that are easily remembered, right? Or a general description, which is the South 40 acres, as an example here. Such informal descriptions are not acceptable for use in public recordation or, generally speaking, in the court of law because they lack both permanence and sufficient information for a surveyor to locate the property. Now, even if a legal document or public record refers to an address, the reference is only supported by an accepted legal description. All right? So I can use these as to pinpoint, right? Because when we put on the GPS, we're not going to put that it's parcel number 1001 of the city, whatever. No, we don't put that. What we put is 100 Main Street, Newark, New Jersey, for instance, right? And the GPS will take us to that. So that is just a pinpoint of where we're located. Just like Buckingham Palace, again, is just a reference to what it is or where it is, right? So you need to be very careful when you determine what is mine or not, right? And I'll put it this way. There's a couple of properties, before we address this. There's a couple of properties that the location, for instance, is, and I'll tell you one, 1023 Adams Avenue in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's 1023. That's the actual address that was given to it. But when we look at the lot, it's actually 1017 to 1023. So again, 100 Main Street is just a pinpoint reference, but there's more to it, right? So a legal description of real property is one in which accurately locates and identifies the boundaries of the subject parcel. Boundaries of the subject parcel to a degree acceptable by courts of law in the state where the property is located. Okay, so again, when we're talking about property, we're talking about the land. All right, we're talking about the land and where it's located. What is mine? What is yours? Got it? So we need to accurately define what is mine and what is yours. In the example that I gave you, 1023 Adams. If I look at 1023 Adams and I look to a property to the right or the property to the left, right? Then that means, based on what we commonly know, means the property right after is 1025 and the property to the left is going to be 1021, correct? Right? Based on what we commonly know, if a property is on one side of the road, if it's odd number, then all the other numbers by 2, right, are odd numbers. So in the case of 1023 Adams in Elizabeth, as a great example, it's not, because the property to the left is not 1021. It's less because the property that I'm talking about takes over different addresses, right? We commonly address it as 1023, but there's more to it. All right? So the property to the right of this one, the property to the right of this one is actually 1025, and there's no property to the left because it's a different road, just as an example. But if anything, would have been 1015, most likely, right? So as you guys can tell, we cannot rely on the address alone to figure out what is ours and what is somebody else's. So with that being said, let's talk about the different methods of legal description. There are 3 accepted methods of legal description across the United States. Sorry. All right, so I have a student that just failed by 3 points the state exam. Failed by 3 points. He just submitted a message to me, and that's what I was telling him right now. If it's by 3 points, schedule right away. Because if you're that close, that means you got it. If you're that close, that means you got it. Schedule right away, and we'll work out the kinks right after class, you know? So if you're that close, don't wait a week. Don't wait 2 weeks. That's the best advice I can tell you is if you're that close, you already know, you already understand what the exam is like. You know what to look for. Go in the book, review the chapters that you had more difficulty with, and go write the next day if you can. If not the next day, the one after. But try to get as close as possible. That's, again, my best advice to you. All right? So 3 methods of legal description. We have the meets and bounds. That's where, as the name says, meets and bounds. Meets and bounds. I'm going to write this further down, but that's where the property lines meet and create boundaries. This is the easiest one to remember. Okay? It's not what meets and bounds means, but to remember, it's the easiest one. Is where the property lines meet. So there's a property line going up, there's a property line going to the right. This is where they meet and create a boundary. When they meet again, they create another boundary. When they meet again, they create other boundaries and close the box. This is your property, right? To this side is your neighbor's property. To this side is somebody else's property. All right? So again, where property lines meet and create boundaries. Easiest way to remember. The rectangular survey system, or also called government survey method. And we have the recorded plat method or lot and block method. Okay? So, as I was saying, there's 3 methods. Got to remember these 3. 3 methods of legally describing parcels, land. Meets and bounds, rectangular survey or government survey method, and plat method, or also known, very commonly known as the lot and block method. Some states might use a combination of these 2, meets and bounds and recorded plat, like New Jersey. Other states might use a combination of these 2, meets and bounds and rectangular survey. So they're all different, but unfortunately, as the name says here, for instance, rectangular survey, right? That means everything would be even squares or rectangles, right? And we know not every property is even square or rectangle, especially because there's roads, right, in the middle. So sometimes we use combinations of these to describe property. Okay, so as it says here, since the meets and bounds method preceded the inception of the rectangular survey system, the older East Coast states generally employ the meets and bounds descriptions. States in the Midwest and West predominantly use the rectangular survey system, and some states combine the methods. Now again, meets and bounds. This is where the property lines meet and create boundaries. Write this down. property lines meet and create boundaries. Property lines meet and create boundaries. Okay, so again, as I was saying, if you guys see, it's not written the same way. Okay, because meets does not mean where we meet. Does not mean that. Okay, so meets is measurements. Okay, meets is measurements. But to be easy to remember, meets and bounds is where property lines meet and create boundaries. Let's address this one. A meets and bounds description identifies the boundaries of a parcel of real estate using reference points, distances, and angles. The description always identifies an enclosed area by starting at an origination point called a point of beginning or POB and returning to that point at the end of the point of beginning at the end of the description. A meets and bounds description must always return to the point of beginning to be valid. So let's address it. The term meets refers to distance and direction. Meets refers to distance and direction. And the term bounds refers to fixed reference points. Okay? These fixed reference points, we call them monuments or landmarks, which may be natural and artificial. Natural landmarks could be trees, rocks, rivers, and even lakes, while artificial landmarks are typically surveyors' stakes. Let's look at an example right here for the meets and bounds description. Okay, so forget the circle, but we're going to look at this property right here. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're going to identify. Ready? In the meets and bounds description, as with any other, there's a map. Okay? The first thing I want to point out, and for some of you, this is like common sense. For others, there might be a little difficulty here, so we're going to make sure everybody understands. But every map, guys, every map comes with this. Every single map comes with this. What does this reference? North. If it's pointing up, that means you have the map lined up pointing north. Once you know where north is, then you can put your map in whatever direction north is, and then everything else is easy to identify. So you know that if it's pointing up, this is north, right? Replace this for a second. If it's pointing down, then it's south. These are the easiest ones to remember, right? North points up, south points down. Now, the biggest challenge that people have, and I always address this, the biggest challenge that people have is with east and west. Why east and west? Because in most countries, we read left to right. If you read left to right and we say east and west, a lot of people think, ew. Right? But this is incorrect. It's not east and west, unfortunately. It's the other way around. It's west and east. It doesn't even sound right. When you speak, it doesn't even sound right, right? If you say north, south, west, and east, right, it doesn't sound right. But this is the way it is. It's north, south, and then we. Okay? West and east. Okay, so this one always goes to the left, and this one always goes to the right. Okay, so west and east. All right, I'm going to give you a second here. West to the left, east the right. By the way, I have a struggle here because this is like being in the mirror, right? For me, this is my left hand. I'm telling you that this is the right for you. This is my left hand, my right hand. So I have to do everything reverse for you guys. All right. I literally feel like a monkey in the circus, or performing a trick, reversing everything, right? All right. So remember this. Why is it so important? Because in the legal description there are roads, and in the road there's a line to the left and a line to the right, correct? So what would this line be? Can you guys tell me in the chat real quick? What would this line be? This one? Is this the west line or the east line? Okay, easy, perfect, right? So this is the west line, this is the east line. Easy. Because when we're talking about a legal description, if this is our property, then it starts with the east line. If we're on this side, then we have the west line. Okay, so it depends on what we're describing. And then up here, we have another road. This is Route 199, and we have a line right here on top and a line at the bottom. This is the north line, and this is the south line. All right, so again, these two are the easiest ones. This is where a lot of people make a mistake. Okay, it's we, not you. Okay, we, west and east. All right, so let me clear this so now I can give my examples. Okay. So let's say I have a deed to a property, and I'm going to read the description. Okay, I'm going to read the description. And it says, commencing or beginning at the intersection of the south line of Route 199 and the middle of Flint Creek. All right? So the first thing we addressed was this. Where does our property begin? At the intersection of the south line of Route 199 and the middle of Flint Creek. So now let's look at the map. This is Route 199 right here. So we know it starts somewhere there. So let's zoom in. We need to figure out where Flint Creek, right there. So let's zoom in. This is Flint Creek all the way down. And this is, yeah, no, really struggling, huh? And this is the Route 199. Now we said it begins at the south line of Route 199. So this would be the south line, right? And the middle of Flint Creek. So this is the middle of Flint Creek. So where does our property begin? The point of beginning for measurement is right there. That's where we start our measurements for the property. Okay? So let me clear this. Did you guys get it so far? Easy? Thumbs up? Great. I just cleared it because this is the point of beginning. Okay. Let's go back to the description. We know where it starts. Now the next thing we have is a very weird word. Very weird word. Thence. All right? So you guys know this word is a simple then. Every time you see thence, all it says is then. See, we began at the south line of Route 189 and Flint Creek, right? Then what we do is whatever. So we're going to read. Then what we do is we go southeasterly along the center thread of Flint Creek, right? This is what we're reading. And we're going to go 410 feet more or less to the willow tree. Okay? And then this is the willow tree landmark. So that was the next step. We're going to go southeasterly, right? Southeasterly along the center thread of Flint Creek, 410 feet more or less to the willow tree landmark. So as I said before, we have monuments, we have landmarks. These are points of reference. So once we reach the willow tree, this is where our property line ends, right? Let's look right here. Point of beginning. This is where we start. Then it says we're going to go southeasterly. So we're going to go down and to the right. Okay, southeasterly. And if you notice, that's the flow that we have. Right? All the way to the east until we reach the willow tree. See, we don't use this as often as back in the day, but sorry, that was the light interrupting. All right, so we don't use this as often as back in the day, but it was simple. We would be going through the property, and then we see, okay, willow tree is right there. All right, yep, this is where the property line ends, and now we shift to the next property line, which is going to be this. This is the next direction we're going to take. But we had to reach the willow tree as a reference point to know where we head next. Right? So we got to the willow tree. Boom. This is our next stop. Let's read. Then, what do? We're going to go north 65 degrees west 500 feet, more or less, to the east line of Dowell Road. So now our direction is northwest. Our direction is northwest. Guys, you don't have to calculate angles, so that's a good thing. But we would have 65 degrees, right? And we're going to go northwest. That means it's going to go up, right? And to the, this way, and to the left, okay? I'm telling you, everything is reversed over here. North to the left. So we're going to go like this at a 65-degree angle, 500 feet more or less. And we're trying to get to Dowell Road. This is our stop. Okay? So this right here, guys, this right here, this line, right there is Dowell Road, the whole thing, Dowell Road. So we went, again, 65 degrees from the willow tree, 65 degrees, 500 feet northwest to Dowell Road. And we're going to clear this, and we're going to go to the next step. The next step is, then, we're going to go north 2 degrees east. So northeast, 2 degrees east. 200 feet more or less along the east line of Dowell Road to the south line of Route 199. Okay? So let's look at this. North. You guys cannot tell the 2 degrees. We can barely tell the 2 degrees. But what they're saying is we're going to go north and then east 2 degrees. Right? And this is more or less the 2 degrees, whatever they have. And we reach Route 199, the south line of Route 199. And this is our next boundary. Right? So far, so good, right? We created boundaries that down here belongs to somebody else. Over there belongs to somebody else. Over there belongs to somebody else. And now we need to close the box to figure out what belongs to us on the north line, right? Of our property, south line of the road. So the final description, or step in the description, the final step is then we're going to go north 90 degrees east, 325 feet more or less along the south line of Route 199 to the point of beginning. So we started at the south line of Route 199 with Flint Creek, right? And now we're saying we're going to end by going back to that beginning. Very simple. 90-degree angle, as it said. And we're going to go east along the south line all the way to the point of beginning. So this description, guys, told us that this is our property. Okay? This is it. That's all we described in the whole map. This is what it does. This is ours. This is someone else's. That's someone else's. This is the road, and this is the road. So we figure out the boundaries of what our property is. Now, guys, the description came to an end. The description came to an end. Does it say what type of building we have on the property? Such a big property, we must have like at least 10 units, right? What do you guys think? It's at least 10 units here, right? No, it could be a single family. It could be just land. But a legal description, this is the point I'm trying to make, a legal description of a property is describing the parcel or the land that belongs to us. So every time you look at your deed or any property's deed, all that it shows is this, the land. It does not show what's built on it. You guys remember the 5 fundamental rights that we have? I know it was a long time ago. That was Monday, right? Last Monday. So does anybody remember the fundamental rights that we have? Drop them in the Zoom chat, please. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know what the rights are. Yana, you're doing great. Go get some coffee. Run. Some Red Bull. Run. That coffee is not working. Go get Portuguese coffee. Get an espresso. Yes, Carlos. Bundle of rights. Correct. What are the bundle of rights? While you guys type that, I'm just correct something because of the light here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, the right to encumber, correct. The right to use, correct. The right to possess and transfer, correct. And the right to exclude, perfect. On point, love it. Love it. And Carlos just went like, hey, here's all of them. Take them. Correct. All right. So what I'm trying to say with understanding the rights that you have, one of them is the right to use in any legal manner, right? Exclusion. All right. Including in these rights, we have the right to encumber. We have the right to build. We have the right to develop. We can do whatever we want, but land is land. That's what we're describing. What's on it is one of our rights to develop, to build. As long as it's according to the city rules or regulations, not a problem. Okay? Very good. So you guys, perfect on that. Next, we're going to go to the rectangular survey system, and we're going to spend some time here. Rectangular survey system assumes that everything is within a grid. Grid. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at in a second. that this is a township and it's divided into even squares, so it's easy to reference. It's a grid. That's the rectangular survey system. Now you guys know that every township is different, right? Some townships, especially here in New Jersey, right, or even New York, or like I said, the East Coast, especially the Northeast, they don't follow the rectangular survey system. They follow the meets and bounds. So a township could be irregular like that, or it could be really tiny, or it could be really, really big. Every township is different. The rectangular survey system, as you guys are going to see in a little bit, the rectangular survey system says we're dividing the towns into even squares. So your town is an even square, and your neighboring town is another even square. In Jersey, we just like to complicate things. Right? Let's figure it out. So we're going to divide the township into sections and then fractions of a section. It's going to be a lot of fun. For me, it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know for you guys, but for me, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, the federal government developed a rectangular survey system or government survey method to simplify and standardize property descriptions as a replacement for the cumbersome and often inaccurate meets and bounds method. The system was further modified to facilitate the transfer of large quantities of government-owned Western lands to private parties. To institute the system, all affected land was surveyed into latitude, so east and west, and longitude, north and south lines. The object, or the goal, was to create uniform grids of squares called townships, which would have equal size and be given a numerical reference for identification. Now, the rectangular survey system works well for describing properties that are squares or rectangles in shape, since these can be described as fractions of sections. However, if it's an irregular shape like a triangle, the rectangular system is inadequate as a method of legal description, so the full description has to include meets and bounds or lot and block. So even though we're putting everything into squares, not all properties are the same, right? It could be that one property is like that. So therefore, the square does not help. All right? They have to do a combination, as I was saying before. So this is the rectangular survey system, what you guys see right here. Rectangular survey system. So we have meridian lines, right? And we have the base or parallel lines, which are, we have longitude and latitude. Longitude and latitude. Latitude side by side, longitude top to bottom. Okay, so each line is a meridian or measurement line, okay? And then a township right here, township A, right? Township B and C and so on, they're all based on squares, as you can see. So the meridian, the north-south longitude lines on the survey grid are meridians. And the principal meridian is the single designated meridian for identifying townships in the principal geographical jurisdiction. There are 37 principal meridians in the National Survey. Again, why is this important? Meridian. These are reference points that then we go from left to right or right to left, whatever, but these are reference points. If you guys, you ever heard of Eastern Standard Time, right? I'm going to refer to this again later on. We are on Eastern Standard Time, but then there's Mountain Time, there's Pacific Standard Time, there's the GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time, which is like London, right? And that whole line from north to south of the earth, right, north to south, is the meridian for time, that we designate time. Anything before GMT is -1, 2, 3, but all minuses. Anything after GMT, it's +1 hour, +2 hours, +3 hours. So from GMT, we're going to go to Russia, for instance, it's +4 hours or 5 hours or something like that, right? We're going to get to the United States, it's -4 hours or 5 hours, depending on if we're in the daylight savings or not, right? So the hours vary based on that single meridian, and then we identify different meridians along the way. right? Then -1 hour, -2 hours, -3 hours, and so on. Here is for measurements. There are 37 meridians. That means we cut, let's say we cut the United States, right? We cut the United States, something like this. We cut into lines. These are meridians, and there's 37 of them, principal meridians. And then there's going to be a line to the left. This is a township to the right, or even a township that crosses that meridian. The idea is we divide it all into squares for easy pinpointing of what the property or township is. You guys with me so far? What's up? Great. It's going to get better. So in this example, we have the Tallahassee principal meridian. So we're down in Florida. Now, a parallel line is the east and west, the latitudinal lines. So we have the meridian, which is north to south, and then we have the parallels, right? Parallel lines, which are the latitudinal lines. The base parallel line, or the baseline, is designated for line for identifying townships. There's a base parallel for each principal meridian. The range, right? Range is the north-south area between consecutive meridians. It's called range. So the area labeled B in the exhibit is a range, and the range is identified by its relationship to the principal meridian, and the ranges are 6 mile wide. So let's go back here. So this is the range. And as you can tell down here, it says 6 miles. So the width, 6 miles. And look, they're all the same. 6 miles, 6 miles, 6 miles, right? They're all exactly the same, 6 mile ranges. So one township range is 6 miles east to west or west to east. And then we have tiers. So the east-west, I'm sorry, that was north-south, but the east-west area between the two parallels is called a tier, or a township strip. So the area marked C in the exhibit is a tier, and the tier is identified by its relationship to its base parallel, and it's 6 miles wide. So if we go here, again, they're exactly 6 miles, each tier. Exactly 6 miles. So that tells us that this square right here, which is township A, right, is 6 by 6 square, right? And because these are miles, then this means that it's a 36 square mile, which I'm going to write in a second. Right, but these are 6 miles. 6 miles, 6 miles. Okay? It's a lot of smiles, right? There you go. Some of you got it, some are still lost. Nidia, smile. There you go. All right, perfect. All right, you just took a while. I know where you were. So make sure. One, smile. Okay, great. You put the mask down so you can smile. Perfect. All right, so like I was saying, a township is 36 square miles. 36 square miles. You guys have any questions so far? Any questions? We just identified the township so far. 36 square miles, because it's 6 by 6. Yana, you're very close by. I'm going to go there and smack you to wake up. Take you, smack you. Right? You're in Newark, right? No? Where are you? How far are you? I'm just going to figure out if during the break I can go there and shake you up a little bit. All right. Now we're going to divide the township into sections. You're in Irvington? It took you that long to write IRV? You're really sleeping. I don't know what you're pointing, what you're saying, what you're doing. I don't know. Irvington, still not that far. I can get there during the break. All right, so sections. We're going to divide the whole township into tiny sections. Because the township is big, but that's not where we live. We live in the section of the township, or a tinier section, and so on. Now I know how my daughter feels. Why? When she says I don't want to go to school? Or in this case, to the computer? Okay. So the rectangular survey system divides into 36 squares. Now, if you guys remember, it was a very long time ago, right? There are 36 square miles. So if we divide into 36 sections, that means that each section is 1 square mile. Sorry, give me a second. You're about to already? All right. We'll talk later, though. All right. Have a good one. Same here. All right. Or 640 squares. So a section is 1 square mile or 640 squares. 640 acres, I'm sorry. 640 acres. So this is a township. 6 by 6. 6 by 6, right? So that means 36 square miles. We divide them into 36. That means each section is 1 mile, right? So each section is 1 square mile. And we're going to divide the sections into further tiny areas. Because 1 section or 1 square mile, do you think your property is 1 square mile? Do you think your property is 1 mile by 1 mile? No. So we're going to divide this into tinier sections. Danny, you don't have to text me. You're right here. You can go on Zoom. It's Monday. I see how it is. Jeez. All right, class is over. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Everybody's struggling. Like, don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. I was joking. Leonard is the only person serious here. Like, I really want to do this. Everybody else is like, Monday. All right. Next. Like I said, we're going to divide the whole section, and 1 section is 640 acres. This is where we're going to have some fun. 1 section is 640 acres. We're going to divide it into fractions of it. So this rectangle here is 1 square mile or 640 acres. Our property is right here. It's 10 acres right here. Do you guys see it? This is our property. We're going to have to identify this property. So this is how it works. The sizes in acres in each subsection of a township is a fraction of 640 acres, since there are 640 acres in the section. For example, the southwest quarter of a section is 1/4 section. Thus, its acreage is 1/4 of 640, or 160 acres. Very simple. This is 640. If I divide this by 4, right? Each quarter, there's 4 quarters. Each quarter is 1/4 of the 640. So if I divide it by 4, that means it's 160 acres, right? If I divide by 4, each quarter is 160 acres. Going further, the east half of the southwest quarter is 1/2 of that 1/4. It'll make sense in a little bit, okay? So here, we divided this into half, right? If 1/4 is 160 acres, then half of that quarter is 80 acres. Okay, basic math, right? Basic math, we're good so far. So there's different ways you can calculate the math. I like to draw, and drawing is a lot easier to get there. But if you want to do the math, you can do the math, right? But I like to draw it. So I'm going to do a quick exercise to figure this out. Okay. So this is one section. As you guys know, it's one section. And this section, it was divided into quarters and quarters and quarters for quick identification. Now, what I want you guys to see is that if you draw this, right, you're always going to have these lines. These are the inside lines of the section. And look, here's one line, another line, right? This means that this is the north, this is the south, this is the west, this is the east, right? That's one line right there, like the cross. One line, the other line right there. And if I zoom into the quarter, it's again as simple as that. Look, another line. There's the cross. Right? So again, this is north, south, and we. Right? And if I zoom in even further, again, the lines right there. So, north, south, and we. What we have right here, guys, before I give you the example, what I want. What we have right here, this is our property. Our property is located on the northwest quarter, right? The northwest quarter, because there's 1/4, 2, 3, 4 in this tiny area, right? Our property is located in the northwest quarter. But this is a quarter of something bigger, of this one. Okay? That is a quarter of this whole thing. So we need to identify this quarter. And this quarter is the southwest quarter. So we are located so far in the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter. All right? And we're going to zoom out, right? And that's a quarter. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. My bad. I forgot one. All right. I zoomed out and I forgot this one. Yeah, I make mistakes too. I got distracted by Jen and her question on YouTube. That's what it was. I can blame someone else because I'm the instructor. Just saying. All right, so as I was saying, this is a quarter. It's a little tiny thing. Jen, I'll get to you in a second. This is a little tiny thing of a bigger one. All right, so this is the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter. And then we zoom out and we identified the bigger quarter of all. So therefore, my property is on the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter. All right? So I'm going to give you guys a quick exercise for you guys to do. And there's no wrong answers in the first couple. Okay? In the last one, if you have a wrong answer, that's it. I'm closing the class and we won't speak until next year. Okay? Let's try this. I'm going to do this a couple times so it'll make it easier for you to understand. And I want you to identify that right there. So remember, before you give me the answer, and don't give me the answer yet, okay? Do not give me the answer yet. Only when I ask. Only when I tell everybody to drop your answers, that's when you do. Right now, just draw it. Draw this every time, right? And you have to give me in this format. Look at me. Give me in this format. Tiana, yeah, look at me. All right. So it's a quarter, whatever, southwest, northwest, northeast, southeast, whatever. Quarter of a quarter of a quarter. So think logically. If it's a quarter of a quarter, that means we start with the smallest one first, right? Because this is the whole thing, a quarter, then a quarter of that quarter, and then a quarter of that smaller quarter. So we start with the smallest one because it's a quarter of something bigger and a quarter of something bigger. All right? So give it a try. I want this answer whenever I ask for it. This is what you need. And I'm going to leave right here. I'm going to leave right here the north, south, and we for you guys to have a reference. But I'm trying to identify that little yellow right there. Have fun. YouTubers, whoever's watching, do the same, please. Do not answer yet. Just make sure you're writing it down. I say don't answer yet, and the person that's not around is the one that answers. That's great. All right, you guys are ready? You're done? Give me a thumbs up if you're done. Okay, some are still doing. All right, YouTubers, you can answer this as well. In 3, 2, 1, submit your answers. By the way, I don't know the answer because I haven't done it yet. I just mark it, and I'll go with you. This is the format. It's a quarter of a quarter of a quarter. No comments. All right. Ophelia, there's a lot of stuff missing. This is the format. Look right here. Alexis, I'll check the answer in a second. I'm just waiting for everybody to. I thought you guys were ready. Drop the answer. This is the format. Sam, you're fired. That's it. I don't understand sign language. Anyway, all right. Nidia got the answer, okay? Anybody else? Come on, guys. Ah, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it. All right, Juan just wrote, and Danny, Marta. All right, perfect. Let's go with these answers. Ready? Ready? All right. Let's figure out what we got. I'm not saying you guys are right. I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but let's figure it out. Start with the smallest one first. Always. Zoom in. Smallest one first. And again, you have the cross right here, right? You have longitude and we have latitude, right? So this is north, this is south, and we. So the first part of the answer, because we start with the smallest one first, is that we're trying to identify this quarter right here. Where is it located? Simple. South, east. Okay, so the first part of the answer is southeast quarter. First part of the answer is southeast quarter. And guys, don't stress about it because we're going to do a lot of these, okay? Southeast quarter. Now, after identifying that one, we need to identify the next one. The yellow quarter is in the whole green quarter, right? So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And we're trying to identify this one right here. Now this is in the north, south, we. We always start with either north or south, right? So because it's above this line, it's north. If it was below this line, right, it will be south, but it's above the line, so it's north, right? And let's do this cross right here. And that's the west. So the second part of this is northwest quarter. The first part was right here, southeast, because it was below this line and to the right of this line, so southeast. So it's a southeast quarter of the northwest quarter, right? We got more to this. Okay, and we're going to zoom out. And here, this is what we're trying to identify. This quarter out of all these other three. So there's 4 quarters. And again, we have north, south, we. Because it's below this line, it's the south. Because it's to the right of this line, it's the east. Southeast. All right? So the answer that we got is that this is the southeast quarter, the yellow one right there, right? Of the northwest quarter, because that's in the northwest of this bigger quarter, right? Of the southeast quarter. So we identified that tiny yellow as being the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of the south quarter. All right? Some of you had this correct, some of you had it incorrect. So for that, we're going to do a couple more exercises, okay? Ready? Clear this. Make sure you draw these and always start with the smallest one. Right there. fun. Start with the smallest one. Make sure you draw it, please. Okay. While you guys are doing this, Jen, I saw your question. Um, I'm not sure. I know what a curve is. I know what glitter is, not for a town. See if you can remember anything else about that question. That will be helpful. Okay. Just try to develop more in the question and see if I know the answer. All right. Make sure you guys do not submit the answers until I ask them for it. I did say that. I did ask for it. Erase it. One is just saving on those quarters. He only puts one quarter there. Like, deal with the rest. Figure it out. Quarters are expensive nowadays. You guys ready? Give me a thumbs up if you finished. Thumbs up if you finished. All right. Some are still not finished. Okay. Some need more coffee. Says I'm on the tablet. Okay. That's your excuse. Got it. No problem. All right. Horrible. Orphelia. You always start with north or south first. So it's not east-north, it will be northeast. Always start, and it's okay, but always start with north or south first. Those are the first directionals that you use in everything. North or south first. Okay? You have one that's SN, so I assume south-north or north-south, like you're in the middle, you're not sure. Right? Your compass is spinning and you're not sure where to go. It's okay. I used to have a student like that here. I actually called her after she put north south a couple times. That's her name since then. Her name is Anna, but I call her north south all the time. Just so you guys know, you guys, anything that I can pinpoint on you, like stuff like this, you're gonna be tagged for life, right? Like Juan's wife is my boo, just so you guys know, right? She's my boo, not his. Because one time she sent me a message, instead of saying hi Bruno, she says hi Boo. And I'm like, oh, that's it, Juan, you lost. Right? It's been what, 3 years now? Somewhere around there, 2, 3 years? Yep, there you go. Anyway, you guys will be tagged for life, just letting you know. All right, give me the answers. Let's see what you got. Answers. Ah, Tiana, something was missing, but okay. What you got? All right, so let's figure this out. First of all, it's right up there, right? Let's zoom in. Need to start with the smallest one first. So we're identifying, oh, sorry. We're identifying this one right here. Okay? So this is the northeast. Simple. So if you started off your description as the northeast quarter, that's all you needed to do. Northeast, right? Now, where is the northeast located? This quarter is located right here at the bottom. All right, if I were to fill this whole thing in, right, we got the small one. Now this is a quarter of something bigger. And again, these are easy because we have longitude and latitude, right? But we're trying to figure out is this quarter, and start with, because it's at the bottom, south, and because it's at the left, west, southwest. Okay? So if you guys got, to begin with, if you got northeast quarter of the southwest quarter, we're good so far. Okay? There's more to this. The whole thing is located right here. Right? Let's zoom out. Concept is the same. This line, north, east. Always based on this right here. Okay? North, south, right? West and east. So that's the northeast. So the answer for this, if you guys got it, was northeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter. How many of you had this correct? Give me a thumbs up if you had it right. Great. Yeah. Yana, you were just missing one. And then Orphelia just didn't know up or down. I see you, Alexis. Orphelia did not know up or down is north, south, like one of them. Bruno, I'm lost. Compass does not work with me. GPS all day. That's it. Right? All right. Let's do one more and that's it, okay? I think you guys are getting a grip of this, though. Go. One more. Okay. I gave you enough time, right? Ready? No? Yeah, okay, some yes, some no. YouTubers, you can participate as well. Alexis, you weren't able to wake up Jonathan? No? All right. His loss. All right, and I want the answers in 3, 2, 1, go. Diana's always 1 away. And also, she's my new north-south. Orfila, you got a partner. All right, let's give it a try. Let's figure out what we got. Ready? So, smallest one first. Ready? Again, the line, north, south, we. If you guys always do this, you always do this to every single line, it will be easy. Always do this, north, south, we. Now, what I do is the shortcut. I'm just trying to identify this. So where do these point? Right? Low, right? So it's south. And it points to the left, so it's west. South, west is the first one. Right? So I do the shortcut. If you're having difficulty with the shortcut, always do the whole thing then. Okay, let's fill this out. Okay, so we identified the first one. Now, where is it located? In the middle of all the... Herphilia just shakes her hand. Gotta have fun. All right, so look, right here. Oops, sorry. Right here, line, line. Okay, left, right, and right. North and south, right? So up and down, right? If it's above this line, it's always the north. Okay? If it's to the left of this line, it's always the west. The left is, let's translate this into west, and this would be east of the line. Where is it located? Northwest. Okay? Let's go back. I'm going to do it again. Let me zoom out. Here we go, the line again. Right? Guys, everything is below the line. So this would be up, this would be down, which is the same as north, same as south, right? And then here, this line, we have left, we have right. This is the same as west, east. If it's to the right of this line, up and down, if it's to the right, then it's east. If it's below this line, then it's south. So where is it? It's in the southeast. So the answer for this one was southwest of the northeast of the southeast. All right? I promise I'm only going to do one more. It's the last one, the final one. I'm going to make it easier for you guys. Ready? Just to clear a few things. Okay? Right here. This one's easy. There's only 2 steps here. All right? Think about the Ciara song. Only 2 steps. All right, guys, you ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Give me the answers. All right, Ophelia, you got it. You can do the winning dance now. All right, let's figure this out. Diana, I'll give you a discount because you're tired. Let's figure this out. Ready? Smallest one first. Where is this located? Where is this? North west. Okay? That's a northwest quarter because it's on top. To the left. Northwest quarter. Okay? Okay? And where is this located? Same. Northwest quarter. So the answer for this was northwest quarter of the northwest quarter of section 1. That's it. Now, why do you need to know these things? Why do you need to know the quarter of the quarter of the quarter of the half, whatever? Why do you need to know this? Well, to identify in the map, if they give you a map, to identify a couple things. One of them is if it's divided into quarters or if it's divided into halves, right? You know that the whole thing is 640 acres, correct? So if it's 640 acres and we divide by 4, sorry, let me take this out. 640 acres. And again, we divide by 4, that means that this is 160 acres. If I divide it into 4 more, then this is 40 acres. And if I divide into 4 more, then this is 10 acres and so on. So knowing the measurements. Now, not only to identify that, if they have a map as they have here, all right, let's erase all this. If they have a map as they have here in the book, you want to be able to say that this is my property. It's not only about knowing the 10 acres, it's knowing where those 10 acres are located. Okay? So this right here, these 10 acres are located in the southeast quarter. I'm sorry, they're located in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter. Easy, right? Because it's located, again, this is, divide this into quarters. It's right here. This is the west, this is south. You're going to zoom in. We're going to divide this into 4 again, and it's located right here. This is the southwest, and then into 4 more quarters, and this is our property right here, southwest. So this is the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter. There's three steps, right? 1, 2, and then 3. So it's a 10 acre. Yes. Where? You guys got it? It's a 10 acre. Where? I need to be able to see my property, know exactly where it is. So when I look at this township or this section of the township, I'm not looking all the way up here. My property that I purchased is down here. So you need to be able to identify, not only in this system, but in the meets and bounds, we went over it. And here in the rectangular survey system, you need to be able to identify them. Now in the next one, is the last one, it's the easiest one of all. We have a Plat method, and the Plat method is also known as the lot and block. So they divide the townships, they divide them by lots and blocks, okay? So right here, it's also known as the lot and block system. We're going to divide everything by lots and blocks. So going right here to the subdivision plat map, real quick, going right here, this is block number 8 of the Grand Oaks subdivision. Easy. It's a block, right? So in this block, it has 14 lots. Our lot is number 13. So easy to identify. You guys got it? This is the simplest one of all, because they already did all the divisions for us. All we need to do is to look at the tax map, and the tax map says lot and block, right? So you look at all the blocks. So if there's more, right? That's the only thing here. If there was more blocks, right? It could be variations of them. It could be a cul-de-sac like this. It could be this way, straight lot and block, right? This is block number 7. And there's 1, right? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, for instance, right? And if I were to identify where's my property located on lot 7 of lot 7 of block 7, so it would be right here. A lot easier to identify. You look at the map. Okay, that's not the block. This is the block. Okay, lot number 7. Okay, you know it's this one instead of that one. So it's easier to identify. And that's pretty much it. That's the lot and block right there. This was the easiest one, right? Okay. Now, final thing we need to address is one thing. One simple thing. Until now, from the beginning until now, I told you guys that everything was based on the land, right? So if my property, my deed does not describe the building, what if you guys own right? What if you own right here on the 10th floor? Your unit is located on the 10th floor. Now this is land, right? This is land. But how are we going to talk about the units, right, that we own on a condo on the 10th floor? If the only legal descriptions we have define land, not the building, right? Then how? What are we going to do here? I'm on the 10th floor. How do we do this? Anyone? Any ideas? Let me know. Any ideas, guys? No ideas? No ideas? Monday, I get it. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate you. We're going to figure out the elevation. All right, elevation. Guys, just know that 99% of the times when I ask you a question, the answer is going to be right there on the screen, okay? 99% of the times. How do we figure out the 10th floor? By describing elevations. So, to describe property located above or below the Earth's surface, such as the air rights of a condominium, a surveyor must know the property's elevation. The standard elevation reference points are called datums, and they've been established throughout the country. The original datum was defined by the United States Geological Survey as the mean sea level at New York Harbor. A surveyor uses datum as an official elevation point to describe the height or depth of a property. So, datum is a sea level. Your property could be 100 feet above the sea level, right? So datum is the same thing as, you know, when I was talking about the GMT, right? This is the orange, right? This was GMT. That was the reference point, and then this is 0, and then here is -1, -2. This is +1. This is +2. So that is for the time zones. For elevations, we have datum, and datum is the water level at New York Harbor. Okay? But not just any water level. It's the mean sea level. So we have low tide, and we have high tide, right? And usually the tides are in the coastal area, right? But if you go a little bit further in, let's say 1 mile in, as an example, the water does not flow up or down, it's constant, right? It varies, is over here, but the rest of the water is constant. So throughout the whole world, we have a measurement of elevation based on the sea level. So all elevations are based on sea level. So if I want to say my building, right? If I want to talk about my building as I was doing right here, right? And I'm here on the 10th floor, I'm going to identify the elevation that it has considering the sea level. If I'm near New York and this is the sea level, right? Then it appears like my property is at sea level. So I can say that this piece of land that I own right here, right? Or air that I own is located 100 feet, as an example. 100 feet is the floor. Okay? And it ends at the ceiling. Because remember, in condos, we own air. So the parcel of land where we live that belongs to us is still the land itself, still the land, right? But because we're up here, we need to define what's ours. It begins at the floor and it ends at the ceiling, correct? So there's two measurements. There's 100 feet to the floor and 110 feet to the ceiling. So we have a 10-foot space that belongs to us. You guys understand? What's up? Based on elevations. That's easy, right? If there's a question in the state exam, they just want to know, how do you measure condominiums? Based on elevations, and they might mention datum. Datum is just a reference point for elevations. That's all. Now, one thing to remember, guys, is that just like the GMT, right? Just like the GMT, if this is our point for time and everything plus, 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 or minus, minus, minus in time, then everything is referenced to it's -1 to GMT. So Eastern Standard Time is -4 to GMT. Now, we don't go out and say, oh, it is now 11:50 -4 of GMT. No, we're going to say 11:50 Eastern Standard Time. You guys understand? The same thing here across the United States. We're not going to say our property is 100 feet. Let's say we're in Texas. Our property is 100 feet above New York datum. We don't say that. So the surveyors are going to identify local datums, which we call benchmarks. Now, the benchmarks is what we are locally at. And we've identified, for instance, in Texas, as an example, we identified that Texas is like, say, 50 feet above New York water, New York datum. Do you understand? So any property here at this location, for us, we're going to be 100 feet above the Texas datum, or whatever, let's say Houston datum, right? But a surveyor will know, yeah, it's 100 feet above the Houston datum, but it's 150 above the New York. Just like we say Eastern Standard Time, we don't say -4 hours to GMT or -5 hours to GMT. Same thing. We established local benchmarks. They are registered and they become a valid reference when surveying other elevations in the immediate area. So we find local reference points, benchmarks. Okay? You guys good? You guys still alive? Surviving it? All right, great. So with that being said, guys, we're going to go into a quick break, allowing some of you to go run around the whole block to wake up, get your blood flow circulating, right? Because the next chapter is going to be complicated. We're going to talk about contracts. Start talking about making money. All right? So, it's 11:52, guys. 53. We're going to get back at 12:05. So you got literally 12 minutes. Have fun. See you in a bit. YouTubers, I'm going to end this session. I'll be back and open up another one soon. Make sure you subscribe so you can get that alert. All right? Be right back.